Hi, and welcome to the NFPA LiNK YouTube channel. This page is dedicated to answering key questions you have related to electrical and life safety. With easy-to-use digital access to NFPA codes and standards, NFPA LiNK is your window to productivity. Today we're going to be covering the requirements for spare sprinklers. So in order to start talking about spare sprinkler requirements, we're going to have to figure out which code or standard we're going to look at. And looking at my dashboard, I have a couple of my most used standards here. I've got NFPA 13, standard for installation of sprinkler systems. I've got NFPA 25, which is a standard for the inspection, testing, and maintenance of water-based fire protection systems. And then I also have NFPA 72, which is our fire alarm and signaling code, and 101, which is our life safety code. Now, talking about spare sprinklers, we can go down the route of looking at the requirements in NFPA 13, which are our requirements for when I design and install a sprinkler system, which type of spare sprinklers do I have to provide. We can also look at it from an NFPA 25 perspective, which is when I'm doing an inspection, testing, and maintenance on a sprinkler system, what do I need to be looking at for spare sprinklers that are provided for that sprinkler system? So I'm going to go ahead and look in NFPA 25. We're going to look at the 2023 edition, which is the most recent edition as of filming. So once we get into NFPA 25, we're going to go into Chapter 5, which covers sprinkler systems. And once we get into this section, let's say we don't know which sections actually cover our spare sprinkler requirements, because we'll see there are actually a couple different sections. So we're going to go ahead and search and see. We're going to search NFPA 25, Chapter 5 for sprinkler systems. I'm going to go ahead and search spare sprinklers and see which kind of sections come up. So I've got a couple sections here, and this is going to be the section we're going to start at, actually, 5214, and that covers the inspection of my spare sprinklers that I have in my facility or with my system. So we're going to click on that section. 5214 says the supply of spare sprinklers needs to be inspected annually for the following. I need to make sure that the correct number and type of sprinklers are there. I need to make sure that a sprinkler wrench for each type of sprinkler is provided. And then I need to make sure that I have a list of the spare sprinklers that are provided in that cabinet. So I want to look a little bit deeper into those types of requirements, and they're all covered here in 5416. So I'm going to go ahead and look at 5416. To make this a little bit easier, I'm going to go ahead and open that one in book view just so we can see the sections a little bit bigger. So now we're at section 5416, and we see the requirements here. It's all under maintenance for the spare sprinklers. And I see that a supply of at least 6 spare sprinklers needs to be maintained on the premises so that any sprinkler that's operated or damaged in any way can be replaced. And that's the big thing here with spare sprinklers, is that if I have I have a fire in a building and a few sprinklers operate, controls the fire, we're able to extinguish it, fire department's able to come and clean it up, I need to be able to replace those sprinklers as quick as I can in order to get a system back and operational. So that's what the spare sprinklers are for. If I needed to order sprinklers and wait for them to get delivered, my whole system could be down for days or even weeks as I'm waiting to get those sprinklers in. So I have them on hand, so I'm able to replace them. So we're going to look real quick over some of the high-level requirements here for my spare sprinklers. So my sprinklers need to correspond to the types and temperature ratings of the sprinklers in my property. I need to make sure that my stock of spare sprinklers are kept in a cabinet in which the temperature of the cabinet does not exceed any of the maximum ceiling temperatures of my sprinklers, right? So the sprinklers are designed to only be subjected to a maximum ceiling temperature over the life cycle of the sprinkler system. I need to make sure while they're being stored as a spare sprinkler, they don't get exposed to that temperature either. So there's a table here. I got to make sure that the cabinet isn't in, say, a mechanical space or something like that gets too hot for those spare sprinklers. And then if I have dry sprinklers, different lengths of barrels for dry sprinklers, I'm not required to provide each different length of those spare dry sprinklers, provided I have a way to put the system back in service, maybe without that one sprinkler that operated, and then I have a way to send that sprinkler in and get it replaced by the manufacturer. And then the last big thing I want to talk about here is the number of sprinklers in the cabinet needs to be increased if I have more sprinklers, right? So here I've got kind of different levels. If I have a facility that has under 300 sprinklers total, then I need to have at least 6 sprinklers. But if I have between 300 and 1,000 sprinklers in my facility, then I have to have at least 12 sprinklers. And then if I have over 1,000 sprinklers in my facility, then I need to have at least 24 spare sprinklers in that cabinet. So those are kind of the big requirements here for spare sprinklers in my sprinkler cabinet. So I hope that provided some insight into the spare sprinkler requirements, specifically the ones that you're going to find more in NFPA 25. So for more information about how you can use NFPA LiNK to give you more knowledge about how to get your job done right, go ahead and visit www.nfpa.org/link.